My name is Tom. I am 82 years old. I am going to tell you about the worst decision I ever made in my life. I want you to understand it clearly so you never make the same decision in your own life. I chose a job over my kids, and I paid for it. God, did I pay for it. Let me tell you how this happened, because it didn't start out feeling like a choice. It felt like I was doing the right thing, being responsible, being a good father. Isn't that funny? I thought working all the time made me a good father. I had 3 kids, Danny, my oldest, then Sarah, then little Jamie, born between 1968 and 1974. And when Danny was born, I was 27 years old, working as a sales manager for a manufacturing company. Made decent money, not great, but decent. My wife, Carol, she stayed home with the kids. That was the deal back then, Dad works, mom stays home. And I took that job seriously, maybe too seriously. When Danny was about 3 years old, my boss called me into his office, said they were expanding, opening a new territory, and they wanted me to run it. Big promotion, lot more money, but it meant travel, a lot of travel, 2-3 weeks out of the month on the road. I went home and told Carol. She got quiet. That kind of quiet where you know someone's unhappy but trying not to show it. She said, "Tom, Danny barely sees you as it is. You're gone all day now. If you take this job, you'll be gone all the time." And I said something I wish I could take back. I said, "I'm doing this for you, for our family, so we can have a better life, so the kids can have opportunities I never had." She didn't say anything else, just nodded. And I took that as agreement, took the promotion. For the next 15 years, I was gone more than I was home. I'd leave Monday morning, come back Friday night. Sometimes I'd be gone 2 weeks straight. I'd walk through the door and my kids would look at me like I was a stranger visiting. But the money was good, really good. We bought a bigger house, new cars. The kids went to good schools, had nice clothes, took vacations. Well, Carol took them on vacations. I was usually working. I thought I was winning, thought I was building something, providing for my family the way a man should. Danny was 12 when something happened that should have woken me up. I came home from a 3-week trip, some big sales conference on the West Coast. Walked in the door Friday evening and Danny was sitting on the couch watching TV. I said, "Hey buddy, how's it going? This your old man?" He looked at me, looked right at me and said, "Not really. I'm used to you not being here." He wasn't trying to be mean. That's what made it worse. He was just stating a fact. He was used to me not being there, used to having a father who was a stranger. I should have quit that job right then, should have found something local, something that kept me home. But I didn't, because I was making good money, because I'd worked so hard to get to that position, because I told myself he was just being a moody preteen. Sarah was quieter than Danny, didn't say much when I was around. I'd try to talk to her, ask about school, about her friends. She'd give me one-word answers. Fine, good, okay. Then she'd go to her room. I told myself that's just how teenage girls are. They don't want to talk to their dads. It's normal. But it wasn't normal. She didn't want to talk to me because she didn't know me. I was the guy who showed up on weekends sometimes, asked a few questions, then disappeared again. Jamie was the youngest, born in '74, and I missed almost everything with him. Missed his first steps because I was at a sales conference. Missed his first day of kindergarten. Missed his soccer games, his school plays, his birthday parties. Carol would send me pictures. Jamie blowing out candles, Jamie in his soccer uniform, Jamie at the science fair. And I'd look at these pictures in my hotel room and feel this little tug of something, guilt maybe, sadness. But then I'd push it down and tell myself this is what fathers do. We sacrifice. We provide. The company kept promoting me. By the time I was 45, I was a regional director, making really good money, 6 figures. We had everything we could want materially, and I had no relationship with my children. Danny left for college when he was 18, went to school in California. I thought, good, he's getting a great education. We can afford to send him anywhere he wants. That's what matters. He called home every week, talked to his mother for an hour. If I was home, she'd hand me the phone. We'd talk for maybe 3 minutes. How's school? Good. Need any money? No, I'm fine. Okay, well, work hard. That was it. That was our relationship. Sarah left 2 years later, went to school in Boston. Same thing. Called her mother all the time. Barely talked to me. Jamie was still at home, but by then he was a teenager, and he'd already learned from his older siblings. Dad's the guy who pays for stuff. Not the guy you talk to, not the guy you go to with problems. I retired when I was 63, finally home all the time, finally available. And you know what I realized? My kids were gone. Not physically. They'd come visit for holidays and birthdays. But emotionally, they were gone. I'd missed my chance. Danny got married when he was 28, had a beautiful wedding in California, and during the father-son dance, he was stiff, uncomfortable, like he was dancing with someone he barely knew, because he was. The wedding DJ asked if I wanted to give a toast. I stood up, and I tried to tell stories about Danny growing up, and I realized I didn't have any. I wasn't there. I didn't know his favorite teacher's name. Didn't know about his first heartbreak. Didn't know what he wanted to be when he grew up. I sat down after maybe 90 seconds. It was the shortest, most awkward toast of the night. Sarah got married 3 years later. Didn't ask me to walk her down the aisle. Asked her uncle, Carol's brother. Said he'd been more of a father to her than I had. That hurt, really hurt. But she wasn't wrong. Jamie's in his late 40s now, lives in Seattle, has 2 kids I barely know. He calls his mom every Sunday. Me, maybe every couple months, and it's always short, surface level. How's the weather? How's your health? Never anything real. My wife Carol passed away 5 years ago, heart attack. And when she died, I lost the only connection I had to my kids. Because she was the bridge. She'd tell them about me, tell me about them. She kept us connected, even though we had no real relationship. After she died, the calls got less frequent. The visits stopped almost entirely. Last Christmas, I spent it alone. Danny had plans with his wife's family. Sarah was traveling. Jamie said he'd try to visit, but something came up with the kids. And I sat in my house, the big house I'd bought with all that sales money, and ate dinner by myself. I have money. I've got a good pension. Got savings, got investments. I can afford anything I want. And I'm completely alone. You know what I think about now? I think about all those soccer games I missed, all those bedtimes I wasn't there for, all those school concerts and science fairs and parent-teacher conferences that Carol went to by herself. I thought I was building something, thought I was providing, and I was. I provided money. I provided things. I provided opportunities. But I didn't provide myself. I didn't provide time. I didn't provide presence. And you can't buy that back. You can't pay money now and get those years returned to you. Those moments are gone. Those relationships that should have been built day by day, conversation by conversation, they never got built. And now it's too late. My kids don't hate me. I think that would almost be easier. They're just indifferent. I'm their father biologically, but I'm not their dad. Not really. I'm the guy who sent checks, who showed up sometimes, who was always somewhere else when it mattered. I see other men my age with their kids, see them having Sunday dinners together, see the grandkids running to grandpa, excited to see him, see real relationships. And I know I'll never have that because I made a trade. I traded my kids' childhoods for a career. I traded relationship for money. I traded being there for being successful. And the trade was brutal. I'm 82 years old. I've got maybe 10 years left if I'm lucky. And I'm going to spend them alone. Because I didn't understand until it was too late that success at work means nothing if you fail at home. Nobody tells you this when you're young and ambitious. Nobody says, hey, your kids are only young once. Those years go by fast, and if you miss them, you don't get them back. Or maybe they did tell me. Maybe Carol tried to tell me. Maybe my kids tried to show me, and I just didn't listen. I was too focused on the next promotion, the next sale, the next achievement. I thought I had time, thought I could work now and connect with them later, when they were older, when I was retired, when I had more time. But it doesn't work that way. You can't build a relationship in year 20 if you weren't there for years 1 through 19. The foundation has to be laid early, and I never laid it. If you're a young parent right now, reading this or listening to this, and you're working all the time, telling yourself you're doing it for your family, please stop. Please listen to me. Your kids don't need a bigger house. They need you. They don't need expensive vacations. They need you at their soccer games. They don't need the latest toys. They need you reading them bedtime stories. Your presence is the gift, not your paycheck. And if you miss their childhood chasing success, you'll end up exactly where I am, successful and alone. I'd give back every promotion, every raise, every achievement, every dollar in my bank account. I'd give it all back for one more chance to be there when Danny took his first steps, to walk Sarah down the aisle, to know Jamie's favorite subject in school. But I can't. That chance is gone. Those years are gone. And I have to live with that for whatever time I have left. The trade was brutal. I got money and success, and I lost everything that actually mattered. Don't make my mistake. Don't wait until you're 82 and alone to figure out what really matters. Your kids are young right now. You still have time. Use it. Be there. Show up. Put down the phone. Leave work early. Miss the meeting if you have to. because I promise you, 30 years from now, you won't remember the meeting, but you'll remember that you weren't there when it mattered, and that will haunt you for the rest of your life. That's all I've got to say. Thanks for listening to An Old Man's Regrets. I hope you're smarter than I was.